So here's how this whole thing came about. In the summer of 2000, a King of the Hill PSA premiered in theaters. According to most, it was a feature before animated movies like Chicken Run. Created by Mike Judge and animation director Wes Archer, the short was created to publicize the Will Rogers Institute, of which PSAs and the Will Rogers Summer Combo Packs were part of. The PSA was paired with one by Jason Alexander to help fight pulmonary disease and other such ailments. By the end of the season, the short left theaters with little mention. It would be basically lost for the next 18 years. In the next decade, the short was nearly forgotten. Only a few scattered searches for it occurred, but they never turned up anything. 17 years later, the user Avian Bird posted about the PSA on the Lost Media Wiki forums on August 27, 2017. As far as anyone knew, this summary, and one obscure pamphlet mentioned in it, was the only proof of its existence. Then, in February of 2018, Wes Archer comes across a random VHS and digitizes its contents. On February 18, 2018, he posts the 40-second clip to his Instagram, Archermation. It sets off a firestorm, only inflamed when Mike Judge later tweets about it on February 26. The hunt was on. Not only was this new King of the Hill material, but it was proof the short was real. Incomplete, but real. Within the week, the clip exploded across social media. It is bizarre and fascinating, but lacks context. In the following months, there is a flurry of articles on it, but nothing is turned up. On July 26, 2018, the user RaveRaptor posts the clip on Twitter, which goes viral. Then, the following day, I posted this video to the channel. Perhaps the post and video raised more questions than needed, but they were the right questions. It got people talking and looking, but the only thing to find was the incomplete 40-second clip. It seemed the full PSA would be tantalizingly lost. If its own creator did not upload the full cut, who would? Well, it happened on March 8, 2019. A video appeared on the Will Rogers YouTube channel, and it confirmed everything. The full 1 minute, 32-second PSA. The effort was not in vain. The Will Rogers Institute heard. Executive Director Todd Vredenberg even confirmed it to me through email. This video has been a few months coming. I only found out about the upload on March 20th. For the past 3 months, I've been trying to contact the Will Rogers Institute, and I finally did. But, without further ado, the uncut Will Rogers Summer 2000 King of the Hill PSA for your viewing pleasure.
Well, we saved the world from aliens, but Bobby is still 50 feet tall and Dale is still invisible.
It's true.
I have no choice. Shabu, for my last wish, I want everything back to normal.
It is done.
Wait a minute. This isn't back to normal. This is light beer. Darn you, Shabu! You were right, Hank. King of the Hill, the movie, was a terrible idea.
Well, as bad as it was, I don't know why you had to cast Ned Beatty as me.
We went a different way, Bill.
I just wish that some good could come out of this tragedy.
Well, it did, Peggy. We all got Will Rogers combo packs to enjoy while we watched this abomination.
At the concession stand, be sure to ask for the Will Rogers Summer Combo Pack, because a portion of the proceeds will go directly to the Will Rogers Institute to develop new treatments and cures for a variety of pulmonary diseases and support national educational programs.
So please, buy a combo pack and help us fight lung disease, one junior mint at a time.
If you need background on the clip, beside this timeline, I would recommend watching the original video on the PSA on this channel, as this video exists to answer most of the questions raised in that one, though, fortunately and unfortunately, I will have to retread some information on the short. The clip was produced by Mike Judge and Wes Archer for the Will Rogers Institute. How can this be confirmed? In the original 40-second upload, or Wes Archer's copy, a majority of the context had been cut out with the second half of the clip. I underestimated the amount cut off in his Instagram upload. It was not 15 to 30 seconds, more like 50 plus seconds, which had the complete context. This was the obstacle to establishing the clip's whereabouts in its origins. Out of context, it looks like a joke. Only when it was learned that it was from the Will Rogers Institute, due to Wes Archer, did searchers have something to focus on. Luckily, an earlier post on the legendary clip had already established that link. Beyond just Wes Archer's word, Avian Bird's post on the Lost Media Wiki provided a direct link to the Institute. It was the best summary of the PSA before its reappearance, and had compiled the most info on it. It is impressive Avian Bird was able to accurately recall an under 2-minute clip that had played 17 years ago before a movie. The summary provided turned out to be scarily accurate. Though, now that the PSA is out there, we can see where Avian Bird's memory was a little spotty. Besides some dialogue errors, there are a few misidentifications. Still, Avian Bird remembered far more of the clip than what Wes Archer actually posted. Avian Bird recalled the genie being named Zamboni when he was actually named Shabu, likely due to how out there both names were for King of the Hill. Avian Bird also misidentified Bill as Ernest Borgnine when he's actually Ned Beatty. Beside that, Avian Bird's summary was pretty spot on, even remembering how Bobby closes the spot with Junior Mints. As this new information has come to light, I'm going to correct my mistakes and debunk some of those original theories. For simpler things like me putting February 16th, 2017 instead of 2018, and mispronouncing Betty as Bet, I'll just mention here. Me calling this lost media was a bit of a misnomer too. Something like incomplete or inaccessible media would have been more accurate, but that is a bit much to pronounce. As for why it was inaccessible/never posted, it was not a legal issue like I first theorized. Mr. Vredenberg confirmed that to me directly. The Institute owns the PSA, but does not distribute it without permission from the original creators and actors, as Mr. Vredenberg put it. My mistakes or oversights with the clip are more due to lack of information rather than misinformation, mostly with Shabu in the ending. Many comments have theorized about Shabu's voice actor, but the most likely candidate is the voice of God himself, Don LaFontaine. Others have also pointed out how Shabu looks more like a character from Beavis and Butthead rather than King of the Hill. There are also technically 5 voice actors in the PSA: Mike Judge, Johnny Hardwick, Don LaFontaine as Shabu, maybe, Stephen Root as Bill, and Pamela Adon as Bobby, who appear at the end of the original PSA. The last 50 seconds of the PSA not included within Archer's Instagram clip, so the full upload has revealed the clip was far more in-depth than first thought. After my upload on July 27th, 2018, things went rather cold. By this point, I assumed the PSA would just turn up at some point, and it did. Turns out people could have searched for years and never found it. On March 8th, 2019, nearly 8 months later, the full unabridged PSA is posted to the Will Rogers Institute YouTube page. Archer posts the full link to it, the PSA circulates around the web, and everyone seems satisfied. But I cannot leave well enough alone. Why had it been posted so suddenly? Was it legal issues? Did my video have an impact on its release? Since May 8th, I have been on and off trying to get in contact with someone at the Will Rogers Institute, but all the avenues of contact always failed. I finally bit the bullet and contacted them on Facebook. Then entered Todd Vredenberg. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Mr. Vredenberg. Through the Facebook Messenger, I got connected to someone inside the Institute. But not just anyone. Mr. Vredenberg is the executive director at both the Will Rogers Institute and its branch Brave Beginnings, which also continues the Institute's efforts of charity work through the cinema. Now, Mr. Vredenberg was well aware of the search in my video. He has 20 plus years of work and experience at the Institute to help me. He knew plenty about the PSA and its origins within the Institute. Why had it been lost? Well, Mr. Vredenberg told me plenty of people had requested the clip over the years, but the Institute only distributes to media outlets, not individuals. Then what about the YouTube channel? That was quite literally an oversight. The PSA was in the Institute's archives, but it had simply never been posted to the channel over the years. There was no real legal issue on any front. There was no problem posting the PSA to YouTube for archival purposes. So why was it never on any King of the Hill home releases then? Well, the Institute owns the clip but always seeks approval of creators or actors before distributing it. Fox simply did not know, forgot, or did not deem the clip important enough to include on any releases. Only Wes Archer, the Will Rogers Institute, and possibly Mike Judge have any of the surviving copies. There was no conspiracy or red tape suppressing the clip. It just randomly re-emerged, and the interest in it resulted in it being posted to the Will Rogers Institute YouTube channel. So what brought about the creation of the PSA then? Mr. Vredenberg provided me all he could on that front. Of course, this happened nearly 20 years ago, so not all the info is correct, and Mr. Vredenberg may be misremembering some things or details, but you can definitely take him at his word. As is obvious, the Institute has a long history of working with Hollywood. He recalled the PSA was the result of one of the Institute's board members convincing the King of the Hill producers to make the PSA for the summer of 2000. The writers and producers took advantage of the opportunity and created the more tongue-in-cheek spot that exists today, appropriately ribbing Independence Day and other late 90s Hollywood action movies. Mr. Vredenberg did offer me one extremely tantalizing piece of information, though. One I do not think he could either confirm or deny. As he wrote to me in the email, as to not misquote him, at the time the PSA was made, there was consideration for a King of the Hill movie, by whom I am not sure. So instead of having a traditional PSA script, the people involved with producing the show decided to make a creative spot that featured the unique personalities of the character, as well as delivered a message about the Will Rogers Institute. Todd Vredenberg. Now that is interesting info. So the PSA has been found and the Will Rogers Institute has offered all their information, but that has just left plenty more questions. An actual King of the Hill movie? How far in development did it get? Was the PSA inspired by its development? Could this clip actually have been part of it? The only plot points that were animated? Or is it just a red herring? There was never a confirmed movie, but maybe Hank's joke at the end may have been more about the troubled development for an idea that never got off the ground. I do not know, just wild speculation. The only one who could confirm or deny it is Mike Judge or any of the other producers. Any material on it, though, has since vanished into the abyss. Just like the Monsignor Martinez pilot. While the PSA is finally accounted for, there are still a few lingering questions about it and its contents. Like, why is the UFO 3D? Also to do with Shabu. Is his voice actor actually Donald Fontaine? Why does he look like a design from Beavis and Butthead? Was he a scrapped design from somewhere else, like the supposed rumored movie, or is that actually just the Monsignor Martinez pilot? All lingering questions that will likely never be confirmed or denied. And the most pressing question, why did they cast Ned Beatty as Bill? So it seems the mystery of the King of the Hill PSA is finally answered. It was not that exciting, but it was interesting. As with any search, it always raises more questions to be answered and leads to be sought. I would like to give a big thanks to the Will Rogers Institute and Todd Vredenberg for being so helpful in the search for the PSA, since they heard the demands and posted the clip to their YouTube channel. And Mr. Vredenberg for being so helpful in the search for the PSA and answering all my questions in our short exchange. If you want to show your thanks, you can donate to the Will Rogers Institute or Brave Beginnings. They do a lot of good work with their charity cause. I'll tell you what.